And video comments mostly, sort of, maybe we'll get them eventually, possibly, but whatever. This stupid Tranquil asshole from a few years ago. He's just such an obnoxious liar. So we're just going back to the same old bullshit. But and yeah. So I'll play his video. Yeah, but so it's on the subject of pets, sort of. But more importantly, it's on the subject of things that aren't solutions. It's kind of like we have this right to die policy stuff that we get in these different states, and it doesn't really involve any rights whatsoever. I mean, it's something that 4 people a year can access. It doesn't give people a right to choose suicide. It doesn't give people, even who are sick, a right to say, I'm sick enough, I don't want to be any sicker. It's just this whole idea you have to be terminal by their definition, and you have to be this and this and this. You have to jump through these hoops. And so it doesn't solve the problem at all. It isn't an answer. But people think it's an answer. So when it comes to feral cats, they think they have an answer, which is this stupid idea of trapping the animal, which is traumatic, tying it down to have surgery and anesthetizing it, then cutting it up. There's no way to properly medicate an animal. You can't tell how much pain they're in, and then throw it back on the street. And they think that's a solution to the feral cat problem. It isn't a solution. It doesn't solve the problem. Clearly they've been doing it in New Jersey for 10 years, and the problem is 2 million strong. It's not even coming close to fixing the problem. The problem's just spreading, getting worse and worse. And it's horrible. And it's all because of pet owners. And so the whole first thing that should be stated is pet owning should be discouraged. People shouldn't be encouraged to own pets, because that slavery has this horrible, as bad as the slavery to your needs of having the pet is, and forcing them to suffer and die for you, you have this side benefit, this unintended consequence of creating millions of feral animals who will be substantially tortured for nothing. All right. Well, anyway, so I'll play this video. Because this has to do with Benatar and Koran guy, who in the past we argued about because of he's big on anti-civilization. And just as a reference, I'll read an anti-bullshit man comment, because it sort of just illustrates the fact that that's what the old argument was about, because that's all Tranquil argued for, was he was against human civilization. He wasn't an anti-natalist. He wasn't worried about nature. He wasn't worried about the animals in the wild. He just didn't like what humans were doing. So Bullshit Man says, with Koran as your guide, it's no wonder you hate modern civilization. And he says, guilty as charged. So that's pretty strong evidence that I am correct in paraphrasing the previous conflict between me and this asshole, being primarily because he kept quoting Koran's anti-civilization quotes. And so now he's going to quote him here, a quote he never showed in the past. So that wasn't the argument in the past, because he's a liar. Okay, he wants to rewrite history. Fucking liar.
So, if you're not aware, Gary Mendham has made a couple of videos criticizing me lately, and I wanted to use a couple clips to reply to him. So, here it is.
Oh, here it is.
Zafti, that.
Text.
Well, Koran is your guy, right? So, yeah, Zafti wouldn't be relevant.
That's
Koran
me.
was... So, you see, this guy was a believer. We used to argue, and his real problem with the human race was just civilization. If he could throw human beings back into being baboons, okay, then he would. Okay, so it's okay for human beings to exist if they're uncivilized, and civilization is the big evil. Retarded fuck.
So this is just a typical in Mendham straw man argument.
Right, straw man argument, not, okay? None of my videos have been deleted. The history's there. Search my videos under the name Tranquil. You'll probably actually see parts of his video and see what he was actually arguing. So he's just a lying piece of shit.
Now, I've never argued against civilizations,
Bullshit. Fucking liar.
so I don't even know where he gets this stuff from.
Your own videos on this on the name Tranquil, fuckhead.
Siaha's position is pretty clear. Being a civilized man is more miserable than not being a civilized man, and that's pretty much it. Obviously,
Well, even that's a kind of a silly commentary. Being ignorant is somehow a blessing, when we all know we wouldn't want that.
there are great advantages to civilization, but in terms of your capacity to experience anguish, especially over the long term, civilized man is in a worse situation.
Yeah, whatever, right. Yeah, it's really terrible to have penicillin and morphine. That's just such a horrible thing. Yeah, fuck you, idiot. So this is a quote he never showed in the past. Better to be an animal than a man. Well, that's just plain stupid, in my opinion. I would certainly argue that civilization has been done badly. And, world wars and nursing homes and tubes and all kinds of other crap that we endure. Dying more than once, all that kind of crap. Okay, technology abused, essentially. But animal? You want to go back to being cavemen and living to be, 25 years old and being beat up? Go look at how the people live in Africa and stuff. And when they're 25 years old, they look like they're 65. Fuck you people. Oh, anyway. An insect, then an animal, a plant, then an insect. So again, this is an assumption that this guy knows something about biology and how old sensation is and how rich sensation is in any of these other things. Does he know how animals feel? No. Does he know what insects feel? No. How do you know? How do you know it's better? How do you know it's better to be a caterpillar metamorphizing into a butterfly and having all your parts move around? How do you know nature doesn't torture the fuck out of you when that process happens? How do you know that? Oh, that's right, you don't know that. Whatever diminishes the kingdom of consciousness and compromises its supremacy. Well, again, who cares about supremacy? Its existence is the problem, and that's right. It's a dangerous thing, sensation. It's precious. And if you can't do it right, don't do it at all. So we agree on that. But these aren't the kind of quotes he was belching 5 years ago. He was arguing against human civilization, not against consciousness on Earth. He had no patience for conversations about getting rid of consciousness on Earth. And he still doesn't. That's why I called him a naysayer the other day, because every time you bring up a solution, the fact that it is feasible, he doesn't want to hear about it. It's not his goal. So again, these fucking text videos. Obnoxious, stupid, idiotic way to fucking
so as you
put
can
them in
see,
the description,
this is just a
shithead.
sentiment. There's no advocacy here, so it's not a question of let's just go back and be dumb animals.
Oh, well, that's in the rest of his book, though, isn't it, jackass? Those are the arguments you were making 5 years ago, wasn't it, jackass?
Anyway, I thought this statement was pretty interesting considering what he's saying with Corey Anton here.
Winners win, losers lose, and it's a cutthroat, simple, harsh, brutal.
To live?
My argument is, as I've stated it, okay, is sentience is the game. So yeah, you want to live as a non-sentient, then it's a good time to live because nothing's getting hurt. Okay, but as soon as something's going, ouch, this game gets really important because now we have a value, okay, and the value can be degraded. We can leave more milk on the floor. So we spill more milk than we clean up. That's dangerous.
So zero-sum game argument that I'm making, which is Benatar's zero-sum game argument of the asymmetry. You're not going to win. You're going to lose more than you win.
People would have just been dreamlessly asleep and never woke up. It would have been the best deal. To be a tree.
Well, I'm afraid because that's the nature of the game. I mean, I didn't make it a stupid tic-tac-toe game. I didn't make it a feudal game. It's the way nature is. Nature is a feudal game. As I've stated, you don't like the analogies, but I have to use analogies.
But would you grant that there are certain... Okay, you said there's a lot of...
So I don't know what he included this clip for what reason. I think everybody knows my argument.
Pretty similar position, right? Anyway, it's like,
Again, that's not the argument. You talk about a straw man or a quote mining. That's not what we argued 5 years ago. You didn't show Quran quotes about getting rid of consciousness on planet Earth. That wasn't what you were arguing for. So this is just bullshit. You just completely erased the truth and then put in a fake. I'm not saying the Quran guy that isn't a real quote. I'm just saying that's not the argument you were making 5 years ago, shithead.
okay.
I wouldn't have argued with you if that was the argument you were making 5 years ago, shithead.
To have been has nothing to do with ending sentient lives. Well, I'm sorry, better never to have been is a pretty clear statement. That if everything is better never to have been, then why would you wake anything up, shithead? I mean, it's a glaring statement. Better never to have been only has one logical consequence, and it is don't make anything be. Don't create it, don't recreate it. It has nothing to do with ending sentient lives. So he somehow thinks.
Okay, so again, what's the point here? Why sit there and keep arguing it if you believe something else? If you don't believe in ending sentience on planet Earth, how do you think you're going to do that? It ain't going to happen by magic. You're going to have to end lives.
Better never to have been doesn't have anything to do with ending lives in the sense that if Frankenstein's asleep, you don't wake him up. And everything to do with starting them. And again, what are you doing when you wake something up? You're restarting it. And you know this very well. Well, I know that there's no difference between not waking somebody who's asleep up and not making them in the first place. Those two things.
Right. So is the point hard to get by? So I'm going to cut Benatar slack on this, but frankly, because he's going to play a clip of him from an interview where the question isn't directly asked, and it's not asked in any kind of context where he's given alternatives. So given alternatives, maybe he would have chosen to word his statement differently. I'm just saying there's no point for anybody to say they believe better never to have been, to think there would be any point in anesthetizing a cat and then waking it up. Why would you bother? So you capture it, you torment it, you anesthetize it, and somehow it makes more sense to, cut up its sexual parts and force it to recover and then throw it into the wild, that somehow it's going to be, that makes it less reproductive than if you just let it die on the table, asleep, die in its sleep. So if it dies in its sleep, it's somehow more reproductive than if you let it go back out into the wild, which is illogical, nonsensical, and it's a huge waste of the small amount of resources there are for be kind to animals. They're wasting on tormenting animals. It's moronic to the principles involved. It's an insult to the principle.
Things are exactly the same.
So here Gary's just playing a game with language.
No,
There's
you're
no
the one
option
going to play the
not
game.
wake them up.
Okay, there's no option. There's no option because people like you don't even ask for it. Don't fight for it. Don't even mention it. You think it's a solution. You think tormenting an animal by trapping it, tormenting it by putting it through surgery and then giving it worming medications and doing this and doing that and giving it all kinds of treatments and fixing its broken limbs or doing this, doing that. You think all of that is a rightful imposition you're going to impose on the animal because you think it somehow makes sense because it needs to be. Somehow it's in this bizarre context, it's better to continue being. Is that what Benatar's second book ought to be? Better to continue being? Do you think that's really his message? You think he really believes that? But that's the consequence of this bullshit you're spewing, you puke.
What he actually means by this is that we should go out and, instead of sterilizing animals, we should kill them. We should.
Well, so again, we should euthanize them. That's right. We don't have to kill them. We euthanize them.
Euthanize them. And he says that this is the logic used in Benatar's book, Better Never to Have Been.
I'm just saying his book doesn't mean anything if that's not his logic. I'm just saying, why would you think it's better for animals to be? Somehow it's better not for humans not to have been, but somehow it's better for animals to be? Do you think he believes that? I don't think he believes that. He states overtly that, yes, he would rather just make the whole planet unconscious. He's just too pussy to acknowledge that you can't do that by giving birth control pills to alligators.
So I went and found this clip of Benatar.
Right, so let's understand, this is an interview. He didn't know ahead of time what he was going to be talking about this and all that stuff. And how much do we know Benatar even thought about this subject? Maybe zero. So I'd rather see a quote of his in writing, like everything else he's done, most of what else he's done, to verify that he actually thinks it's better to continue being for pets. That's what he believes, instead of better never to have been. The harm of coming into existence. Well, I'd argue the harm of continuing a feral animal's existence. Why continue it? You've got them asleep on the gurney. Why would you wake them up? What's the rational cause? To throw them back in a shitty environment to eat garbage.
I draw the distinction between different ways of bringing about extinction. So I'm all in favor of it.
See, he's all in favor of extinction, so at least he's got that part of the logic correct. He's just too pussy to admit that it's not going to happen because animals voluntarily don't procreate anymore. That's retarded.
Extinction by non-procreation, but I'm not in favor of extinction by killing. So I don't think we should go around killing.
Right, so what's the point? I'm just saying, so he's so afraid of the negative connotation of, you know, Nazism or some other kind of extermination thing, genocides, this kind of stuff, some other bigotries involved, that he's just afraid of the fact that that's not going to work for animals. You're not going to be able to solve the problem in nature with some pussy. I'll give them all instructions on safe sex, how to use condoms. It's not going to work. Fucking, and I think he's smart enough to know that.
Large numbers of human beings. I don't think we should go killing animals in order to make them extinct.
So again, this isn't really focused on the subject of feral pets. The consequences of pet ownership. It's not even the question. He wasn't even asked the question, should people be allowed to own pets?
So non-procreation is, I think, the right route to extinction. So I'm not worried about a planet that does not have any sentient life. In fact, I think a planet of that kind would be much better than a planet like ours, which is just...
Well, I mean, obviously, that's the title of your book and states pretty clearly. So again, how could somebody miss that point? But again, that's the point. Now, if one of you illogical tards want to explain to me exactly how you get to the end, okay, through your silly, I'm not going to deny anything the right to procreate. I'm not going to do anything to stop it. Anything necessarily aggressive. And you think it's going to happen. Well, it's not going to happen.
Filled with suffering, both human and non-human animals. So I'm not worried about extinction per se, but the means maybe worry.
Yes, right. So we're all for means. So again, if I gave you, if we had the ability, just as simple as you shoot a tranquilizer gun, you could shoot a dart into an animal and it would be humanely euthanized. I'm pretty sure Benatar would be for that. Why would he be against it? What would his opposition be? Why would there be any need to continue being? None of these animals are going to cure cancer. None of them have obligations and contracts. Now, if you're going to argue it's got 10 kittens over there to take care of, well then, yeah, first it's got to take care of them and then we'll euthanize all of them or something. But I mean, I'm just saying, yes, it might have some short-term needs to be served, but I'm just saying we know that animals don't have the same obligations as human beings do.
You've established that it might be wrong to breed domesticated animals into existence, but would you advocate sterilizing free-living animals, for example?
Yes. Now, obviously, there are...
Yes, so he's for sterilizing free-living animals. With what magic do we accomplish that with? Something that doesn't exist. So we don't have that ability. So of what value is a conversation in that context? I mean, clearly the end has to be that we have to obviously do the technical research required to do this finishing of the sentient life on Earth after we've already recognized that human beings will gracefully exit. Then we have to find a graceful exit for the rest of the biological mass. But I'm just saying this isn't a practical statement. We can't start doing that now. If you take something out of the biosphere now, something else will take its place. You know, you remove one stomach, another stomach will take its place.
Some issues of welfare concern with sterilization because it's not a pain-free experience for that animal. There's going to be some post-operative pain.
So this is even stupider, right? So let's say if he really believes that he thinks it's better to impose surgery on an animal and force it to continue its life than it is to just kill it while you have it anesthetized, to just let it die. And you're telling, if Benatar's too stupid to say, well, yeah, if we have a wildebeest on the fucking operating table and we're going to cut up, or we're going to give it a partial hysterectomy, well, it would be even smarter not to wake it up. If he can't figure that out, then he's too fucking stupid.
There may be other implications for animal welfare, but I think if we do this in the best possible way...
Well, what's the best possible way? We're doing it the best possible way. And you have no way of knowing how to control pain. You have no way of controlling the consequences of surgery, which could develop, after infections, all kinds of other bullshit. So you're just imposing a lot of suffering on the animal for what purpose? Because you believe it's better to continue being. Well, if it's better to continue being, then it might as well be better to have been. What fucking sense does it make? Those two statements are in conflict. You can't believe both of them, Mr. Benatar.
That is far preferable to many more animals being bred, many more companion animals being
Yeah, well, that's not the issue. The issue is what's the most economical and practical way to get to sterilization. And the most practical way to get to it is aggressive, graceful euthanasia. That's it. For the amount of money you spend fixing one animal or repairing its broken leg, you could euthanize 10, maybe 20, with the same resources. You're offering people the 5% solution.
bred.
So Benatar is pretty clear here, and he doesn't share Gary's conclusion.
No, so it's not clear here. It's an interview, and the question of, well, Mr. Benatar, wouldn't it be more practical to get rid of the feral animal problem to euthanize the animals after you trap them? Why would you torture them by doing surgery on them? What fucking sense does it make to throw them back on the streets to eat garbage? What kind of ghoulish, sadistic lunatic would do that?
Conclusions. This is a case of not letting the best become an enemy of the better.
Yeah, whatever. No, it isn't. Your 5% solution is no solution at all, frankly. It's a waste of the resources, especially when you're spending tons of money on a non-solution just so veterinarians can get rich. We got to take this out of this fucking, it's another industry. You know, you're so contemptuous of civilization. Well, this is another piece of civilization. A bunch of ghouls making a killing on this shit, okay? There's people making huge fucking money. There's people who don't even bother being doctors because they know they can make a ton of money being a veterinarian, you know, charging people $500 to go out to their house to do one fucking injection to put their animal humanely to sleep. We got to get out of these fucking veterinary industrial complex needs to be shut down. Because these fucks have no interest in the welfare of the fucking animals. All they give a fuck about is making a fucking fortune. It's like any one of these fucking charities. It's all engineered so everybody's making a ton of money and the animals are getting fucked in the end. You waste huge resources on bullshit, and all on the banner of no kill shelter, like you've solved the problem because you aren't killing the cats or the dogs. You're not solving the problem by throwing them in the street or locking them in cages for months. Go to those shelters, see how many animals have been in a damn fucking cage for 3 fucking months.
So yeah, I just want to end by saying that this has really made me reconsider participating in the anti-nihilism.
Well, as I've stated before, I have little interest in participating in the anti-natalist community because they don't have a fucking clue about what the real subject is. This pussy bullshit that you have some kind of fear. You fear the argument, shithead. That's all you. You're a fucking coward. A disgraceful, lying coward.
Hangouts. I mean, who would want to participate in an anti-nihilism hangout if someone can just come and say, oh, you're not a true anti...
Yeah, I don't just come and say it. I make an argument, shithead, and I'm accountable for it. And I don't delete my videos like you do, you pussy. So fuck you and that bullshit.
Nihilist because you don't agree with me on this or that. I think that's...
I don't agree with you on anything. That's the bottom line. Every fucking idea anybody ever had, all you've done is naysay and nitpick. And then you'll sit there and talk about how it's somehow a great solution that, oh yes, we adopt out these pets so they can be, basically subjected to harm. Okay? Instead of better never to have been, no, let's adopt them out to lives where they'll have all kinds of miseries and might be getting run over in the driveway. Let's go ahead and subject them to harm. For what? For your emotional bullshit.
It's just self-righteous.
No, it's principled, you dumbass. You jackasses don't have any clue about what a principle is. Either you believe that life is menacing or you don't. If you believe it's menacing, then you don't sit there and pretend it's okay. It's okay. We'll keep making conditions for which it's okay to menace. It's okay to subject them to harm. It's okay for us to exploit. It's not okay.
It's counterproductive. And at this point, I don't want to have anything to do with amend them.
At no point did I want to have anything to do with you, you fucking troll.
I mean, in the latest Hangouts, Gary made an appearance, and there was someone in the room who didn't agree with anti-nihilism.
They didn't even do that. They were a nihilist talking about what nature is whispering in his ears. Why don't I just do what nature says? I'm just here to procreate. And that's coming from a transsexual, which makes really no fucking sense. A guy who's probably cut his penis off. Fucking lunatics.
And Gary had absolutely no patience. He stayed for like...
Yeah, I have no patience with this gobbledygook nursery school. You people aren't even close to getting to the subject. Not even close to getting to the important parts here. Alright, if you're going to sit there and waste hours and hours explaining to somebody how nature doesn't have a brain, then yes, you're going to waste your fucking time.
Like 2 minutes or something, and he made fun of that person's voice.
I didn't make fun of it, I commented. Well, at first I just inquired as to why he was so fucking affected. And then, yes, I did make one comment that he said something like, well, I'm transgender, and I did say, well, it sounds like you're going for transhuman because I'm not getting the gender thing.
This is the kind of shit that I'm not going to support.
Yeah, fuck you. Who cares what you're going to support? You're always shooting backwards and sideways. You never shoot across the fucking line, you jackass. You're a shitty soldier, and the sooner you fucking run home and hide in the ground somewhere, the better. You're a useless turd.
Be civil in the room. I don't want to be in a room with you.
I don't want to be in a room with liars, and you're a fucking liar.
So, I'm just not going to participate anymore.
Great,
and,
fantastic.
If you want to know more about this whole thing, you can go read my comment.
Right, so now, you know what he puts in his fucking lying scum comment here? Why trap and return is more humane and effective than catch and kill. Now, can you imagine how ludicrous a statement is this? So somehow an animal is more likely to reproduce if it's dead than if it's neutered. Somehow the dead animals are much more reproductive. Can you believe that? Obviously it costs much more to do a hysterectomy on a cat than it costs to let it die under anesthesia. You can figure that out, right? The doctor shows up and he says, okay, just give it a little more anesthesia. Okay, we're done. And the other stuff takes at least a half an hour. and he has to charge for it, you see. You can understand that it's got a lot more time consuming to actually, you know, do a half of a hysterectomy and then take care of the animal while it heals and all that kind of crap than it does to just let it die under anesthesia, right? So how is this? This is just such grotesque propaganda. And so this is a silly website. It's just fucking propaganda. It has nothing to do with a fact, and there's no facts anywhere on this bullshit pages. It's a pile of shit, our work. You know, anti-cruelty. No, yeah, we'll decide what's cruel. Cutting its nuts off isn't cruel. If we were cutting the humans' nuts off, if the Nazis cut the male Jews' nuts off in the concentration camps, I'm sure you would have brought that up at the Nuremberg trials as a fucking grotesque crime against humanity. Fucking cunts. Dr. Mangala was cutting everybody's nuts off left and right. Yeah, you're just so full of shit, people. So anyway. Alright, maybe I'll just leave this video on this subject. Look, owning pets is wrong. It should be discouraged. Yes, we've all grown up with it, blah, blah, blah. I don't own pets, by the way, okay? They're all feral cats. I don't own a cat. I never purchased a cat. I've never... None of that shit. I had a dog when I was a kid, and that's it. I never got a pet of my own, ever. Any animal I've taken care of is always because it's some fucking body else's animal that they're not taking care of. And that's it. And it really should be discouraged. There's nothing, you're not doing animals any fucking favor by making them a slave to your emotional needs, because they all get sick and they all die. It's better never to have been. There is no, you know, better to continue being. Is bullshit. And it's better to push for kill shelters, not goddamn capture, fucking mutilate and release shelters. That's fucking sadistically cruel. Bastards. Yeah, To Be Serious showed up to do a little yammer whimpering bullshit on this fucking pile of crap. Where is that one? Yeah, fuck you people. I mean, fuck you, Hypatia. Fuck you. Fuck all these assholes. To Be Serious. There are so many great things to focus on out there. What the fuck is that? What does that even mean? So it's all veganism for her. So again, it's these vegans who think they're solving a problem. 0.00000000001% of the sentient life on Earth that's being tormented is being tormented at the hands of humans. And she thinks she's solving a problem. Not even fucking goddamn close. Oh, we can just feel so good about ourselves. We're doing such a marvelous job. No, you're not doing shit. You're not going to get the job done. You're just going to leave fucking consciousness tormented and tortured. You stupid assholes. This wishy-washy, mishy-mushy, glib shit. It's a little game for you people. That's all it is. A little game you're playing. A little ego game. Bastards. Fuckers. So yeah, fuck the anti-natalists. Get a clue. Be an extinctionist. Be an exterminatist. Be a enditist. I don't care what you call it. But be more than this stupid, idiotic humans need to wear condoms bullshit. It's bigger. It's a bigger subject than that, retards. Fuckers.